Welcome to This is Henderson, the official podcast of the Henderson Tourist Commission, where we break down all things Henderson happenings, history, and hotspots. This is Abby Dixon.
And this is Ellie Keelan.
And this is Henderson. All right, gang. We are back for another episode of the This is Henderson podcast.
Here we go.
Coming at you from the depot. Henderson KY.
Of course.
Of course. That's where we are. So we have a super special guest today. We're actually stop one on his media tour. We just found out.
Yeah.
So we're feeling very, very, very special. So we have Cooper Beck.
Hi. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, of course.
We're so happy that you're here.
Mm-hmm.
So Cooper, before we really dive into what we're here to talk about today, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Cooper. I was born and raised in Henderson. I'm 19. I am a sophomore student at Bellarmine in Louisville, but I still try to be as active as I can in Henderson.
Yeah.
It's super hard to get rid of me here.
We love that for us.
And I also have the huge honor of being the founder and the board president for Henderson KY Pride.
Amazing.
So awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so for those of us who are listening and maybe don't know, what is Henderson KY Pride? Because it's really a brand new thing.
Yeah, it's brand new. We are a nonprofit. We're working to become a nonprofit organization that stemmed from the first ever Henderson Pride that took place on June 30th.
Whoop, whoop.
I had the honor of planning that, and it was such a success, and there was so much support behind it that I was like, all right, I got to keep this fire burning.
Ride this wave.
Yes. So that's what we did. I have an amazing team that is working with me, and there's a lot of great things. So we're looking at, more events, offering some support groups for people in the community, getting some education and outreach services out there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What did it take to create the Pride event in Henderson? What
First
went
year.
behind it? Yeah, because it's a brand new event.
It was kind of a chaotic ride,
Yeah.
to be honest. It stemmed from actually a class project where we had to kind of identify an issue per se in our hometown, and kind of build a response or a campaign to
Address it.
Yeah. So I was like, I think that a lot of people don't know about kind of the culture and the history here dealing with LGBTQ people.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to do this tiny event at the library. It's going to be small, and I'm going to get some beverages and some light snacks. And we're going to talk about Henderson and the large LGBTQIA history that is here in Henderson, because a lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah.
I remember you saying, I thought there would be 20 to 30 people that might show up.
Yes. I'm going to make a Facebook event, and we'll get some people. I reserved the room at the library. And then, after a week of posting that, I had to have the conversation with the library of, we don't have room to hold all these people. And then...
They've gotten too big, guys.
And then, just at 3 weeks after posting it, I had, 690 people who had responded interested in attending on Facebook. And I was like...
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I got to do something with
and
this.
There's a new
project.
issue to address.
Yes, it was such a good problem to have.
Yeah,
It was a
that's
scary
amazing.
Problem. It was a lot of work. So I found a local organization, the Chloe Randolph organization, and they offered to host us in their parking lot.
Nice.
I was like, this is perfect. It was just the right amount of space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went from originally 6 vendors to 20 vendors. And then I was able to bring on, 3 food trucks, and then
Trappin' Chicken.
Yes,
Hello.
it was
Those
so
nachos,
good.
crazy.
Ugh.
All those food trucks were so good. I ate way too much that day.
I'm very proud to be in the Trappin' Chicken VIP chat, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
So I always know the
Brag about it, I
location.
guess.
Put that on your resume.
Okay, go on.
I was like, okay, now this is turning into your typical Pride Fest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, let's get a stage. Okay, stages are a little expensive. I'm balling on no budget. So I
We get it.
found a local transportation company that had a big 25 gooseneck trailer.
Cool.
I was like, hey, question. Can I put some drums and some singers on your stage? And they're like, yeah, sure. So they brought in the stage, which was also a trailer, and we ended up having 2 live bands, an amazing drag show, some really good speakers.
I mean, cartwheels and heels, guys. It was crazy.
It was amazing.
I wish I could move like that. Yeah, I was like, my entrance is not good enough for me to be out there. No.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
So you were proud of what the response was?
I was proud, shocked, and it was like a good overwhelmed. I was like, wow, like this is insane.
And people were so grateful. I mean, talking to people that were there and hearing conversations. I mean, people were in tears about just being represented and being able to share themselves and their community in Henderson.
Yeah.
And I think it was a great collaboration of like everyone getting together.
With their like loved ones and like supporters too, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I think just to see so many people coming together.
Yeah. I think it was also good to see a lot of people who we perceive as like community leaders being there. So we had like, our mayor and our city commissioners over there, and people who like are business owners or they work in, some of our, most prestigious businesses in Henderson. And they were there present. So it's like, we do have the foundation here to have a welcoming and inclusive community.
Kudos on an amazing event.
Yeah, I mean, insane.
I have planned events before. I have planned events that have flopped. I have planned events where, like, I know how this feels like when you're just, like, hoping and praying that someone shows up.
Yeah. My stomach was hurting. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this is going to go. I was like rocking back and forth on my bed the night before. I was like, okay, here we go. Here we go. It's the real deal.
I get it. And I think that the response that you got is just so indicative of the support. And, we are an inclusive community and we want to continue to grow and be welcoming to everyone. And so just to see that turn out, and I know that you had to feel so good and so proud as you should. So it's really exciting. What are the plans? I mean, you have to rest a little bit. I get that. But what, if any, are the plans for bringing this event back?
Now that I have, like, a giant team behind me, I think next year, I think we're looking at, a large scale.
All bets off.
Yeah. As big as we can go, I am down for it. And I think that we'll have the support to match that.
Yeah.
As well. But on top of that, I'm a big believer personally, and I'm hoping to instill this in the new organization of holistic support. So, I want to have a Pride event where people can go and, spend money and listen to all of their favorite singers and stuff. But I also want to make sure that, their mind, body, and soul is taken care of as well. Right? So that I'm hoping to, do some support groups for different identities of people who may not have had that resource here in Henderson. Start the Affirming Business Directory. So people who are LGBTQIA identifying, or even allies who just want to put their money where their values are, they will have an expansive and exhaustive list of businesses in Henderson who will welcome all with open arms. And that doesn't just focus on shops or restaurants, but also primary care physicians, dentist office, people who have some sort of understanding of how these identities live and exist, and they can put that into their services to make sure that they're taken care of and they have.
That's amazing.
Nice. It sounds like Pride, while Pride was such a visible event, and it was, there were so many people and families and friends and just a gathering of community. It sounds like that's really just the most visible part of work that is happening
There's
all year round.
There's a lot of behind the scenes, And
I think that's the most important part. And I think that sometimes we don't see that properly with other Pride organizations. And so I wanted to be really, really intentional about our approach to everything. And also make sure that, we are listening to the people that we're serving. So, as a gay man, I can't really build a response plan for trans identifying people without listening to trans people.
Of course.
So that's kind of the approach that we're taking here, so we can, like I said earlier, have that holistic approach to everything. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work, and there's a lot of committees that are doing great jobs, and I'm just kind of like, wow, these people are amazing.
You've built a great team, and it's because there's a strong leader.
Yes.
So kudos.
Sorry.
No, own it.
It's been a lot of work, but it's been so exciting. It's like such a new environment to be into. I'm like, oh, wait, you're asking me questions? Okay,
Yeah.
wait, okay, I gotta know what I'm talking about now. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's exciting for Henderson because there's been this momentum building in our community, I feel like, since I've moved back here. And I feel like this is just another step in that.
I did an interview with the Hendersonian, and I kind of focused on that, I don't see this as like, some big breakthrough. I think it's been possible this entire time, right? It was just a step forward.
Yeah.
But we've already taken so many steps by passing the fairness ordinance.
Yeah.
And then repassing the fairness ordinance. So this momentum has been building for 20 plus years.
Right.
And when you look at the LGBTQ history here in Henderson, I mean, that's been going on since the 50s.
Yeah.
We have history and writing dating back to the 50s. So this isn't anything new, right? The idea of LGBTQ acceptance isn't a new idea to Henderson.
Right.
I think that this is just our first real visibility.
Yeah.
And something like official, you know?
Yeah. And it kind of like builds that foundation for it. So
talk to me a little bit about, I'll start by saying, I think as an organization, we realize how important it is for the vitality of our entire community that we're a welcoming and inclusive destination. Tell me what that looks like to you from your perspective.
Yeah, I think the first and most important thing is just talking about it, like having a podcast like this, right? This is public, and we see a Henderson or organization having this conversation just like it's nothing. And that's the first step in it. And then I think also during like Pride Month, having those posts go out.
Yeah.
I think that that's probably the most important thing because that's your most visible aspect. But also slowly building that culture of like, there's a no tolerance policy. Like a really good saying that I love is like hate has no place in Henderson. And so reinforcing that idea, it really helps that that culture. And then I guess like the last step of like a welcoming community is the normalcy of it. So like it's not some crazy thing to see a gay couple walking down the street.
Right.
Like that should just be ingrained in our culture here. It should be normal, and it is normal. There are thriving gay couples here in Henderson. So
what we naturally have here, it's just in our makeup, is that welcoming nature, hospitality. As long as you're good to us and respectful to our people in our destination, we want you here. It doesn't matter who you are or what your walk of life is. We want you to enjoy your time here. We want everyone to come to Henderson and spend money and boost our local economy, of course. But we also, there are so many cases where people visit Henderson and then they find their home away from home, or maybe they decide to make it their home. And so we want to create an atmosphere and make sure that we're perpetuating an atmosphere where everyone does feel welcome. So, Cooper, are there any destinations, cities, communities that you have visited that you feel like, as a gay man, have really gone above and beyond to make sure that you feel welcome and that acceptance and inclusivity? And do you have examples?
There is a specific community, which is where my university resides, in the Highlands in Louisville, and that, it reminds me of Henderson. It's a subdivision of a bigger metropolitan area, so think of Evansville for us, just times 10. But but the Highlands, it is a small community, and it's perfectly normal to see a business that has a Progress Pride flag hanging outside of it. That's normal. You see LGBTQIA people walking down the street, and then you also see people who you don't know if they're LGBTQIA because that's not something that you think about. It's not, is that person gay? That's not a
We're all just
conversation.
people. Yeah.
That too. And then I think, I've also felt very comfortable walking down the street as somebody who visibly presents themselves as gay. And I've never had any issues. People yelling out of their car or having weird looks. It's just those are my neighbors and those are people who I live in the same community as. And it's, I don't know the history of the Highlands or what steps they took or if it's just always been that place. But I think that's really the only example I have.
Yeah. So it's just something that you just feel it's not necessarily a huge display of acceptance and inclusivity.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling. It's in the makeup of the people that live there and call it home.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we all have a responsibility to showcase the best version of ourselves and our destination and the hospitality that really Kentuckians are known for. And so it's important that we take that really seriously in Henderson. So speaking of kind of Kentucky as a whole, you know, you've referenced your time in Louisville, which is, of course, biggest city in Kentucky.
Yes.
So we're a rural community. So what can you tell me about, like, what this type of movement means for rural communities in our state?
There are gay people, there are trans people, there are queer identifying people who live in the smallest towns that you can think of. I was born in Spotsville, and then I moved to the city of Henderson later in my life. So, like, I am from, like,
big city guy.
yeah. Me and all the cornfields, like, you know. But I think it's just a testament to that you know, it's important not to forget about other areas where thousands of people reside. And even though it's a cornfield and then a wheat field next to you, you know, that's still that's still a community for some, and it's still a place where, like I said earlier, LGBT people live. And so I think that this really, I'm hoping, sets a good precedent for the future. And I'm hoping that other counties take note. And, you know, I want people to also see us as a resource too, like reach out to us. I'd love to help grow this movement in other counties, because I think there's maybe 4 in Western Kentucky like us. That's Henderson, Owensboro, I think Paducah, and then I think Marshall County and Bowling Green, which is debatable if that's Western Kentucky.
Go Tops.
So like, it's a very fresh movement, I would say, and I'm proud to say that I think Henderson KY Pride is leading that.
We know that, you know, ensuring that we have a welcoming Kentucky, a welcoming Henderson, that's what it's all about. And there might be some listeners that are thinking, you know what, I need to learn more about what that looks like for my business or, you know, my establishment, whether it's creating better experiences for guests from outside our community that might be a part of this community, or just simply it's good to always be learning and working to know more and be better. So will you tell us a little bit about what, you know, you could offer as far as in that vein?
So I just announced not too long ago that I myself was going to be offering trainings for businesses and organizations or education environments on how they can either create inclusive environments among their staff or for their community presence, or for organizational policies, right? Like, let's work through all your policies. You know, if there's policies that, you know, may not be up to date, like, let's fix that.
Right.
I've done board of director trainings as well. So it's super, super personal. It doesn't, you know, none of the trainings I do are ever similar. They're always completely customized to what your business needs, because it's a highly personal journey.
Right.
You know, I'm not here to change how anybody thinks. That's not my goal. But I do want to harbor safe spaces for all.
Yeah. It's
usually such good conversations. So I offer that service to businesses and anybody who needs it.
Educating is so important, and Henderson having that visibility with the Pride Festival is helping educate people.
I'm sorry. The reason why Ellie and I are smiling is because our sweet Dana in our welcome center is greeting a visitor, and she is not good at taking her volume down. So for those listeners who hear a little background noise, it's because we're popping at the depot. Okay, I'm so sorry to interrupt that
I thought
moment.
I heard something I was like...
It was like in our ears a little bit, like a little,
Cooper, keep going, please. Education it really is key.
Yeah, sorry, I got a little track.
Education is important, guys. I think too that, like, a lot of people in small rural communities can be uncomfortable with the ideas of the LGBTQ plus community, And it's because they don't know a lot about it. And so they're not comfortable with asking about pronouns or identities because it's not there all the time.
Yeah.
And so educating, I think, is a huge part in making people more comfortable and more supportive.
Yeah, and I recognize that in a lot of people. I have a lot of people who are scared to ask me questions, or they're like, well, I don't want to offend. And I'm like, look, we have all grown up in a society where this is not something that we were ever allowed to talk about. Or it was something that was kind of like a taboo subject. Like, if you say the word gay, like, you usually say it like with a whisper, like, oh, he's gay. And then, like, it's like a secret that we all know about and we know it exists.
Yeah.
So, bringing that conversation to light, it can be uncomfortable, but it's important to know that growth and growing as a person in an organization, as a business, that is uncomfortable. And if growing is comfortable, then you're not really growing. And that is kind of the message I try to send
That's
to
good.
businesses.
Say it again.
That if growth is not, or if growth is comfortable for you, then it's not growing.
I'm going to take that with me.
Okay. Trademark Cooper Beck 2024.
That's his tagline.
Yes.
Maybe
my
that's
campaign
what I
slogan.
needed today.
Yes. And I go into all my trainings with that mindset, right? Like, I'm not here to call you out or come at you in any sort of way. Like, I'm simply here to meet you at a standpoint of education and give you the facts and the data, but also give you the lived experience of people, and let's tie it all together. Let's see what works for you and what works for your company, your organization, your business, and let's make a safer environment for all.
Yeah, of course. I think that, like, there's a place for this in all types of businesses and organizations throughout our community. But, as the Tourist Commission and kind of taking on that, we take hospitality and making sure that everyone feels welcome here very seriously. So I think it would be fabulous if we could get with you and maybe plan, like, a hospitality-wide training for, like, any frontline staff that interact with visitors to maybe curate something for that.
I'll have my assistant reach out. And my assistant
He's
is
so
just
professional.
me
I'll
at
do
7 p.m.
He's like,
After 7 p.m., I turn into my assistant where I'm following.
my assistant's ChatGPT. Like,
that too.
yeah.
My assistant is waking up with thoughts of what I forgot to do that day and putting them in my notes app.
And then having like 7 sticky notes of stuff I wrote down. I don't know what I wrote down or what I wrote that down for. So that's my assistant.
That's, that's part of being like the leader of a major advocacy movement, and that's what you are, Cooper.
Thank you. It's super fun. I would not trade it for the world, and I'm still on the high right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still like, I've done all sorts of advocacy things, and I've never done something that has still had so much momentum, and we're now 2 months out from the initial event. And like,
I think that shows how much it was wanted here.
Yeah. And needed. And I think it's been easy to ingrain into our community. I was trying to think of a metaphor on how to describe it, and I thought of it like baking cookies.
Yeah.
Because I love cookies, and I had snickerdoodles last night, so I was like, I'm
should have brought you
tomorrow.
cookies. What's up with us?
I ate so much cookie dough last night. I need to wait a couple weeks before I eat a cookie again. But I was thinking, like, we've had all the ingredients. The cookies had already been shaped, and they were ready to go in the oven, but nobody turned on the oven on. That was it,
baby.
Yeah. The oven just had to be turned on. And I feel like that's what this did. And now we have some great cookies about to come out of the oven. Everybody's about to get to eat them.
Yeah.
And
not only is he a community leader, he is a baker.
He's a baker.
I'll
dip mine in milk.
Yeah,
what does that even mean?
I never said I was good at baking cookies.
I'm thinking about cookies, okay.
I never said I was a good baker, but I can read directions on a package, and that's as far as that goes.
What if those little pumpkin cookies?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
hey, you just cut them. Like, that's all you have to do.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Unless I eat the dough first.
Yeah.
I'm bad about that.
I'm really bad about buying a pack of cookies to make, and then I'll keep it in my fridge for like 2 weeks, just eating the dough slowly.
I know.
And then I never get to bake them.
And they get, like, kind of hard.
Cookies just taste sweeter in Henderson, guys.
Yeah, we really took this.
I'm rounding it out. Our Walmart's got the best Pillsbury dough cookies.
The bakery section, it's so good.
When you think about Henderson, again, like as a destination, what are 3 things that you see that you love? Like, maybe it's something that's an opportunity for us, whether it's an actual physical attraction like Audubon, or if it's just a vibe. 3
Yeah.
things. That's
Well,
very general.
I think our downtown, it's gorgeous,
Mhm.
and it is like such a vibe. And with how it feels outside today, like I've been walking around downtown for the past 2 hours because I was like, I have nothing else
It's
to do. It feels
beautiful.
great
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
And all the shops, like it's just like it's such like a leisure day. I also like how kindness is like kind of built into our city, right?
Yeah.
Like I pass people on the sidewalk. I have no idea who that woman is, but I just asked her how her day was, and she asked me how my day was.
Yeah.
And that's
You feel that
like
connection.
a typical
You hold the
interaction,
door and-
which I've had to like watch myself moving to a big city because other people aren't used to that. So I'll be walking
think
down
you're
Louisville,
crazy.
and I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And they're like, "Why
Like,
is this
leave
man
me
talking
alone.
to me?"
It's like, I don't have any money.
Yes.
Like-
I'm like, wait, no, I'm just being nice, I promise. And then I think the third thing is just like, I love the small like town vibe, but there's like still a lot of opportunity here.
I love that. Those are 3 very good things, and that was
Yeah.
not a planned question. So great job.
To just the listeners, like just know that this is like we understand it's new. This is a new idea to a lot of people, and that there is a place for you in Henderson. There is a place for you no matter how you identify or what your gender expression is or your sexual orientation. Like, that does not matter. There's a place for you that's going to affirm you and support you in an equitable way. And just know that if you find yourself wanting to know more or wanting to get involved or thinking about, how can I be an ally to movements like this, like, feel free to reach out. We have a website up now, and we have a Facebook and an Instagram. It's just Henderson KY Pride on Facebook and Instagram, and then
Awesome.
HendersonKentuckyPride.org. And reach out. I am so open to talking. I love to yap.
Yeah.
So please just...
Obviously, we do too.
Yes. Please reach out to me. We are happy to support you. If you need resources in any sort of way, just ask. Right?
Awesome.
And it might be me pointing you to somebody else, but hey, I'll be with you on that journey. So just let us know how we can help you.
Yeah. And for our potential visitors that might be listening that are looking for just a great event to attend next summer, keep your eyes peeled.
Yes.
June 2025,
Yep.
second annual.
Yep. And it's going to be bigger than the first one. And we are also looking at doing some events before then, so just stay up to date with us.
Awesome.
If you want to feel like, coming to Henderson for a Friday night out in maybe October to like give a sneak peek to something that might be in
Ooh,
the
a teaser.
works.
Okay.
A teaser.
Heard it here
Spooky
first.
season
Listeners.
teaser.
Spooky season start off, so we do have stuff brewing there. So
Oh.
definitely check us out.
I'll put my witch's hat on just for
Yeah.
that. Just see
Hocus
me.
pocus.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been a really wonderful opportunity for us to get to chat. I know Ellie and I, we were planning on kind of sticking with 20 minutes. I feel like this one's going to be a little bit longer.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
But hope you all enjoyed the podcast today. Cooper, we loved having you.
Well, thank you. I loved being here.
Yeah, it was super fun.
And we will see you around soon. So
Yes.
until next time, this is Henderson.